Okay. Can you hear me all right? Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna hold it. It's hard to speak into this. Okay. When the alarm went off at 12:30 a.m., I was already wide awake. I was awake the whole 4-hour night, stirring with anxiety. But it wasn't a bad anxiety. It was an excitement, a readiness. I knew the journey would be challenging, but I was excited for the reward, the summit of Mount Whitney, America's tallest mountain. My dad and I got dressed, drank some instant coffee, and drove to the base of the mountain. We clicked the final straps of our backpacks, turned on our headlamps, and began our ascent at precisely 1 a.m. The first 5 miles of the climb was a steep, zigzagging trail, occasionally interrupted by a stream or light waterfall we'd have to carefully cross. Our vision was restricted to the small circle of light our headlamps illuminated a few paces ahead of our feet. With no sense of how far we'd gone or what the trail looked like ahead, we just kept going up, up, and up. When the sun began to rise at 5:18 a.m., we took our first break and paused to admire the beauty of the deep red rays clashing against the still bright stars above. When I looked down at my watch, I was shocked to see we had already ascended 7 miles in 4 hours, an incredible pace for such a steep gradient. It made absolutely no sense. Our pace did not feel that fast when we had been hiking. My dad was just as puzzled as I was, but we continued charging up the mountain nonetheless. Around 8:30 a.m., we reached the summit. After a celebratory breakfast, a quick break for our legs, and a long hug with my dad to cherish the moments we spent together climbing the mountain, we began descending. The final 7 miles of the trail back to the car felt like forever, 6 hours to be exact. This same segment had taken us only 4 hours coming up. How could it be possible that we had hiked this faster going against gravity than slower with gravity on our side? When we were ascending in the dark, our vision was constricted to that small circle of light ahead of our feet. We were very tunnel-visioned, marching only in one direction. There was no sense of pace, no attempting to conserve energy for later. We moved freely. In the daylight, we could see the trail snaking miles and miles ahead of us. It looked like forever. It felt like forever. Our pace was slowed by the discouraging view of a never-ending road. When I stepped onto campus my first year as a freshman, I looked ahead at the next 4 years, which seemed like they would be a lifetime. I truly believed my time in high school would never end. Not that I was planning to become a super senior, but it seemed that that was my purpose in life. I was put on this earth to be a teenager, to be a high schooler. But as I kept going down the road, I was distracted by the things that high school throws at you: classes, athletics, music recitals, and more. I was tunnel-visioned by all the things filling up my peripheral, constricted to that small circle of light ahead of my feet, only being able to think about the next step I had to take. I had completely forgotten about that long road ahead that petrified me only months before, only for that road to creep shorter and shorter before my eyes without me ever realizing. And before I knew it, I was standing here giving my senior speech, fulfilling my graduation requirement so that I could no longer be a high schooler. Where'd all the time go? Life moves fast. It moves faster the older you get, and it's only going to get faster from here on out. I wish that the road remained long. I wish it still felt like forever, because then it would have taken its course and I could have savored every moment. You will hear a lot of people tell you this same cliche message, that life goes by fast, so savor every moment of it. All these things you're very used to hearing, I'm sure. But it doesn't hit you until you're nearing the end of a chapter, about to begin a new one. When we grow up, we're watching movies about kids in high school. We're reading books about kids in high school. Everything that we've known is about high school. It's familiar territory. It's comfortable and it's fun. Then one day, we're just booted out of the house and told to live on our own. And only then do these types of messages sink in, that life really is passing us by. When I reached the summit of that mountain with my dad, as we stood there overlooking the world we conquered, I had a melancholy realization that one day he wouldn't be able to adventure with me anymore. And only then did I understand that nothing lasts forever. Nothing I say in this speech will ingrate in your heads that realization that time flies. That's just a notion that you'll gain with experience. But what I can offer is some advice to make the small moments more meaningful. Since this epiphany that I experienced, I have chosen to emphasize the little things in my life, as these are often the things that we overlook each day, yet add the most value to our lives. I always give my parents a hug before leaving for school, even if I'm running super late to jazz. For those who know, it's every morning. I always end a phone call with "I love you," even if I'm upset. When I'm in the middle of a stressful homework grind and my dog Max whines for attention, I pause and spend a few extra minutes rubbing his belly, knowing I'll miss having him beside me when I'm doing my homework in my dorm in college. I want to live life with no regrets, I never want to regret not saying I love you, or not holding that hug for a few extra seconds, or not rubbing Max's belly because I was too focused on homework. Each of these special little moments could be the last at any point, and I will have no way to prepare for that. So I make every moment something I won't regret. We can't stop time passing, but we can make the time that passes as valuable as it can be. We can step outside of that small circle of light that we're so used to living in, and instead traverse the peripheral that is often overlooked, for it's here that we unlock the true value in our lives. This, I believe.